Hola Bandidos, ¿cómo estamos? Welcome to Mel's Magic. I'm Magic Mel, and this is Owl, my spirit guide. How are you doing? This is turning into like the Daily Show, like a la Trevor Noah. You know, he's half German too. Who says that like Germans don't have a sense of humor? I'm, yeah, I'm enjoying communicating with you. And I'm totally vibing this spring clean vibe. You know, I hibernated for 2 days, meaning I was just in my yin mode, relaxing, listening, waiting for my intuition, waiting for my energy to kick in again. And today I'm like, okay, basta la pasta, let's get back to work. Well, actually, I went to our local Feria de Artesanía. It's like a local mercado, little market where they sell all kind of like trinkets and homemade things, and which is very tempting, everything very tempting. And then, yeah, I got into action mode. So I was like, okay, garden work, declutter. I actually drove away like 2 carloads full of stuff. And it feels so good. It takes time, like my decluttering. I've been decluttering for like 3 years here because I'm the only one in my family who's actually willing to let go of things. And every time I do it, at each stage, I feel so much lighter. I'm like, ah. And once the stuff is gone, I don't miss it. It's like, was it even there? And as I declutter my physical space, it declutters my mind also. Remember about releasing things that don't serve us anymore? Mentally, mental space, emotional space, digital space, physical space. So we can actually welcome the new. And I'm all up for the new. 2023 is like, okay, done. Thank you, past. Thank you. Let's welcome the new. And what else happened? Yeah, I wanted to elaborate a little bit on my share yesterday. I went actually over the video, and it was still quite broad. I guess I never wanted to get that far because I'm also like, how much do I share of my personal story? And it was still pretty broad. And it's not like even to play the poor me violin. No, that was not the point. The point was just like to give you a context for, what I went through and where I'm at now. Vale? Because you might think like, oh, Magic Mel, she's just like this bubbly, which I am at the moment. But it took some work to get to this frequency. And I bless my own darkness, the kind of suffering I went through, the hardships, everyone who I perceived hurt me, because everybody taught me a lesson. And we're actually manifesting everything for our own highest good, for our own empowerment. And the essential message I also wanted to communicate was that, you know, my mental illness, my depression, my anxiety, disorder, they were symptoms of something deeper, which was a soul loss, a lack of sense of self. And I know the statistics of depression are skyrocketing, even suicide. That's why I want to address these topics, because we can, you never know who's on that edge and how it feels like to be on that edge. Just want to like say a final note, and then I'll close the chapter. How it felt like, when I had suicidal ideation, it was a bit like this metaphor of being in a burning building. Do you jump or do you stay in the building? There was kind of a no escape. I mean, there was. But inside, it felt like inferno, an internal inferno with an antagonist, a terrorizer in my own brain. That was the craziest part. In any case, I also said in one of my videos that, it gets me riled up when I hear, when we kill our pain. I mean, yes, medication did help me, as I said, to get out of the darkest of the dark, so I could actually function again. But pills and medication, they can only treat the symptoms. What we need to look at is the deeper root cause. So again, for me, it was a lack of self-love, lack of self, psychologically. And being so enmeshed with other people's, not knowing where I started and where I ended, where somebody else's emotions began. So taking responsibility back for our own being. Who am I? How much do I tolerate? What is my capacity? What is my boundary? Where do I end? Where does somebody else begin? That's super important, because the self, connecting and finding yourself, is the essence of everything. And then, okay, there's also this notion, okay, we have to find ourselves. Yes, to a certain degree, we have to find how we operate. We need to understand how we operate, how our emotions tell us where we're at, how pain signals how far off we are from our own alignment. But then it's about creating ourselves. So I told you that I built myself up again, meaning I consciously filtered through the voices. Remember, I spoke about us being an ecosystem of different voices, different psychological aspects, and we need to filter the self from the not self, the voices that serve us and the voices that don't serve us, that actually attack us and destroy us, potentially, if we let it get to that point. And how do we do that? Where do we know? How do we know where I end and somebody else begins? That's how important our emotions are. And our body. Your body will tell you if something is off, if resentment is building up. Anger is very important. I never allowed myself to be angry in the past. And the first release after depression, if you look at the emotional scale, where deep down there's shame, guilt, fear, powerlessness. A little bit further up, there's anger. And that's actually necessary to release, to jumpstart the motor again. Because often when we depress, depression literally means like suppressing emotions. They're stuck in there. So in order for them to be released, I had to embody and release my own anger. And I was shocked how much anger I had. Anger of myself allowing other people to trespass my own boundaries. Self-betrayal, self-abandonment. So I had to forgive myself for having allowed that to occur. And then I had to process my anger. And at the essence of everything is self-love. And the way we talk to ourselves. I had the most nasty self-talk tape in my brain. I had to look at that tape, which was recorded, I don't know when I was like little, adopting all of these voices. And I never really analyzed and observed that tape that was playing in my brain. I took it out and observed it through meditation. I said, this tape is toxic, destructive to my own being, to my own selfhood. And I consciously nurtured and created a benign, loving, self-honoring voice that has my own back. Self-love means honoring ourselves, means taking care of our own self as if we were, not as if, like something that is worthy of our own attention, our own care, our own nurturing. I used to care more about other people than my own self. How crazy is that? So nowadays, I'm constantly checking, what am I telling myself? Because whether you like it or not, there's this voice in your head talking to you. It kind of stops during meditation, but usually there's some kind of narration going on in your brain. So what are you telling yourself? That you can or that you cannot? That you're the best or that you're no good? Muhammad Ali was always like, I am the greatest. Too right. If you don't tell it to yourself, who else is going to tell you that? So we got to nurture this constructive voice in ourselves to the point where we don't need to outsource affirmation or validation from outside. If somebody else validates us, good. If not, it's none of my business. Because I have my own back. I'm my own cheerleader. I'm my own best friend now. I care for myself. And once I started doing that, damn, life switched. Because I also realized whatever I tell myself is either possible or not possible. There's a saying, and I cannot remember who said it, whether you believe you can or whether you believe you cannot, both are right. So it's a matter of what do you believe about yourself and about the world. And prior to my breakdown, I feared life. I didn't trust that the universe was actually a loving entity that just responded to my own self-talk. Because we live in this universe of law of attraction, i.e., we attract not what we think, but what we are, meaning what we think, feel, believe, and what we project out into the world. So imagine in your head, there's like a narrator, there's a projector, and through that projection, you filter your perception, what you pick up from outside also. Yeah, and the question is, do you believe life has your back, the universe has your back, or not? And that makes all of the difference. Nowadays, I trust life, and it gives me the confidence to go after what I want, because I know no matter what happens, it's for my highest good. If it doesn't go as planned, it's because I need to integrate some lesson. But the trust is there. There's a baseline of trust that the universe is a loving place, and that changes everything. It's a paradigm shift. It gets rid of the fear of making mistakes, fear of failure. I don't look at things anymore. I used to be so scared to even try things because I was obsessed about making the right choice and getting things right from the get-go. I mean, that's so much pressure on ourselves, no? So often we kind of capitulate and drop our plans and our wishes and our dreams because we're scared to even start and get the ball rolling. So it's this notion of giving ourselves the grace, like a little child, you know. When a little child learns how to walk and it stumbles, we don't like say, "Oi, what the hell's wrong with you? You should be walking from the get-go." No, we tell it, "Hey, try again. You got this." So we got to talk to ourselves as if we were like a kid trying out new things. And the beauty of life is trying out new things, reinventing ourselves. The nice thing about letting go of stuff also is like, I don't identify with my old clutter anymore. So I look at things, objects, clothes, I'm like, does this still resonate with who I am or who I'm becoming? If not, fuera. There's no more emotional attachment to it. And this doesn't mean that I do not appreciate my past. I do. I highly value, honor everything my parents did, my ancestors. I mean, gosh, you know, I wouldn't be here for all of that. But I don't live in the past anymore. I access my past like an archive if needed. Like, I shared some of my story because I felt it's valuable that you know the context of Mel's Magic Official of Magic Mel. But I don't dwell in the past anymore. I've done my whole processing of honoring it, of thanking it, of getting to this stage now where I'm like, okay, I'm free. I'm free from that. I processed all of the emotions. They're not stuck in my body anymore, causing me pain, asking for my attention. Because it's when emotions are unprocessed, they manifest physically. And it's like our body is trying to tell us, hey, there's something you haven't looked at. And I guess, I mean, my practice or my goal is nowadays to not let it go to a stage where there's pain, because pain is already means that we haven't registered the smaller signals. There's a saying, hey, the universe taps you on the shoulder if you're going offline or out of alignment, and you don't listen to it, then the universe throws a little brick. You don't listen to it, the universe sends a freaking truck to hit you, until you listen. That's where breakdowns happen. That's when bankruptcy happens, all of that, because we were so off track and we didn't heed the subtler signals that something major had to happen for us to actually slow down and look at shit. So my breakdown was my greatest breakthrough, because I'm like, okay, I'm not letting that happen again. But I'm still a lot in my head. So it takes conscious effort for me to slow down, pause, do a body scan various times during the day, check my breathing, come back to gratitude, because that's how we come back to the present, out of the mind into the present moment. And that's how I also check, okay, how am I actually feeling? What is my body actually telling me? Because my mind would say, okay, we push through. And my body's like, excuse me, I'm tired. Excuse me, I need to rest. Excuse me, I need some food, nurturing. So I'm constantly trying to get out of my head, back into my body, and trying to feel safe in my body. Because I also mentioned to you, how my entire life I didn't feel safe in my own body. I didn't know how to make sense of my emotions. I was emotionally illiterate, and this is not even to judge myself. I look back with compassion now because I didn't know better. Even my defense mechanisms, my binge eating was a way for my being to soothe myself because I didn't know another way. So I sent compassion to that part of me, that compulsion to use food to so-called build a barrier between the world and me, because I was scared of the world. And I somehow needed to soothe myself, calm myself down. Now I have other tools that are more constructive and less harmful. But our defense mechanisms are there to soothe us. That's how much our being actually loves us. And I also constantly give thanks to my body, because it's not easy to be my body, because I'm like, mental sometimes. And my body is constantly trying to bring me back into harmony, homeostasis, internal harmony. Again, it's an ecosystem. And there's this higher intelligence constantly flowing through us. I mean, have you actually paused to contemplate on the fact that, your heart is beating on its own, your body is doing all of these processes on its own? We don't need to, there goes my nose again. We don't need to consciously tell ourselves, okay, breathe now. Okay, blood flow now. It's all happening subconsciously. It's pretty amazing, no? So self-love, if there's one thing I would preach about, it's self-love. Love yourself. Get to know yourself, your quirks, your likes and your dislikes. Stop trying to fit in, be like everyone else. Why would you? You are unique in the symphony of the universe. You're a unique constellation of energies, of vibrations, of influences, of cultural makeup, DNA. There's only one of you out there. There's only one magic Mel. And really understanding that gets rid of this notion of jealousy or competition, because I know there's nobody like me out there. If anything, I look to other people, what other people do, and then inspire. I'm like, okay, how are they doing it? Is there anything useful that I could adopt? But I know that at the end of the day, I am my own cocktail mixer. I make my own concoction here. There's like a gazillion tarot readers out there, a gazillion coaches. And that's great. But there's nobody like me. So I own it, and it gives me confidence. And the more I share myself authentically, meaning I'm congruent in what I say, think, feel, and believe, the brighter my light. And then it's easier for people to pick up on my light, because if I don't broadcast myself, how are people going to find me who would resonate with what I have to share, with my special kind of vibe? See? That's why it's important for you to find your own vibe. And that will attract your own tribe. Because you also don't need to vibe with everyone. I don't want to be liked by everyone. I used to be like, God, that added to my anxiety, because I always thought, oh my God, what is so-and-so thinking of me? And I never thought about what I was actually thinking about myself, which is the most important thing. Because guess who the longest relationship of your life will be? Toi, you with yourself. Born with yourself, gonna transition into next life with yourself. So to be okay with yourself, to spend time in solitude, to get to know yourself, to construct your own narrative, your self-talk, your self-concept. And then when you do enter into relationship, any relationship, friends, family, romantic, you have something to bring to the table, yourself. And it's not coming from a need to outsource the needs that you're not meeting for yourself first. See what I'm saying? If you cover your own needs first, emotionally, if you know that you have your own back, when you're in relationship with others, it's more harmonious, because there's not this manipulation going on. Because we do have needs, and they're valid. And most of our needs, well, we should, first try and take care of them on our own, but also reach out to other people because, for example, I have certain characteristics and fortes, strengths, and another person has different ones. So we can complement each other. That's why it's a symphony. But the flute is not competing with the cello or the piano with the bass. Like it's like two different things, but together they make the grand orchestra, and it all harmonizes. But we got to know where our boundary is. Am I a cello or am I a flute? Am I a piano or am I a guitar? Get to know your own tune. But what else? Yeah. I'm reading two very interesting books. Simon Sinek, Start with Why. It's also like a good question. You know, good answers come from good questions. I love to pose myself good questions. And that's a very basic but super important question. Or like, why? Why am I doing this? Why am I saying this? What is my intention? Underlying intention. That kind of filters and gives me clarity. So this is a book I recommend. Another book I'm reading is The Yoga of Eating, which I noticed I tend to eat and just kind of scuff it down and kind of just, okay, get over it and next. No, but the yoga of eating, what he's saying, Charles Eisenstein, is basically nutrition is not just the food itself, it's everything. When our senses are opened and when our body can respond via our senses to what we're taking in. It can even sense, if you really refine your intuition, you can sense what kind of vibration the food has. And not necessarily whether it's vegan or carnivores, it's just the general vibe a specific food has. That's where I would like to get. And also to really savor things, the pleasure of eating. I really want to integrate and embody and live out more sensuality, pleasure in the small things. Why not? That's part of living a joyful life too, really being present to savor what you have on your plate, literally. Yeah? So I like what he's proposing here in the yoga of eating. And he also said, you know, the soul is not just like au-delà somewhere. Our bodies are an expression of our soul. This is the soul in the 3D. So this notion that the spiritual is somewhere out there and this is the material. I subscribe to his notion that the material is spiritual. It's a manifestation of the spiritual. And that's why we can alchemize everything. Everything is energy and vibration. So what kind of vibration are we embodying, projecting, taking in? It's all fascinating stuff. And the more intentional we are about it, the more sensitive we are to that, I don't know, the richer the experience becomes. So these are two books I'd like to recommend to you. I'm talking about Start with Why. I picked it up because I'm part of the sacred economy movement. And I'm sure there's many out there because guess what? There's so many of us waking up and so many of us realizing, oh, I'm not just the only one waking up, having a spiritual awakening. There's lots of us. It's like a rhizome system of underground movements happening, trying out new things, alternative ways of being in relationship with ourselves also. With ourselves, with nature, and with each other. Because it's all connected. We're not separate from stuff. I'm an integral part of my environment and of my community and of humanity, you know, if you want to zoom out. And so are you. So where am I positioned in this context of relationships? What do I say yes to? What I like about my sacred economy movement is that it's really, you know, we have an intention of doing things differently. We want to give money a different energy. Because money, I realized, had so much baggage with money, so many limiting beliefs about money. And I want to give money in this movement also. We give money a new energy, vibration of abundance, of generosity, of giving and receiving. It's a beautiful thing. And it's not something that we necessarily learn from our family context. So we're relearning how to operate in the world. And it's interesting, it's super fascinating. So in this movement, we come together as a team with commitments and learning how to give and receive, taking responsibility, self-management, putting values into practice. That's another big thing. I never really thought about what my values were. And if ever, it was just an abstract notion. So here in our movement, alchemists, we are putting into practice, living out our values. So, for example, joy, focus, clarity, self-management, prudence, all of those words that sound all fascinating, but it comes down to actually, how do I use that value in relationship in the context of my life? What does it mean to honor my word? What does it mean to not take things personally? Because that's how when you practice it with a group of people, you get to know yourself, because other people are a reflection of ourselves. And in this community, we're practicing also self-reflection. So we're not, if there is a projection, then we make each other aware of that. Like, hey, maybe you're projecting, and we help each other process things. And when we do it together, the evolution, the growth is exponential. It's a beautiful thing. And we learn about our strengths, talking about harmony, who is good at what, how do my specific assets, internal assets, contribute to the larger whole. It makes you realize that, wow, I can actually belong to a community that values me, that appreciates me for who I am, for what my gifts are, for for supporting each other. It sounds idealistic, but guys, we need a new vision, because the old is falling apart. I'm not watching the news anymore. I don't need to. If I were to switch on the TV, I don't have one anymore. It's the same old stories. And I'm not saying that stuff doesn't exist. Yes, it exists, but what are you going to do about it? Because that meta narrative makes me feel powerless, and I'm against powerlessness. I'm all about taking back our power, our true power, and coming back into alignment with our soul, with the higher power, with the divine, with our heart's desires, and living differently, redefining what it is to be a human being. Wow, I didn't know where I was going with that. But yeah, if you're looking for new ways of operating, I highly recommend see for yourself. Again, I keep on suggesting things, but try it out for yourself. Live your own experience. If you want something different, try things out. Find those communities that support you. And I'm not talking about a cult. A cult is where someone tells you what to do and you all follow and bow down. No, self-empowerment. You know best what's good for you. Trusting yourself, trusting your own experience. But yeah, being part of this conscious community, it really helps me also have faith again that we are collaborating now, that there are human beings out there who want something different, and not just conceptually, abstractly, literally live in a different way, and that it's possible, and that we're creating it. Again, I told you, we are the creators of our reality. So there's a new brotherhood, sisterhood of humanity arising. And it makes me trust again, because I used to shun or be afraid of relationships because I was so codependent and enmeshed. I didn't know where I was scared of losing myself. And now I'm like, okay, I know who I am. I trust myself, and I want to be in relationship with other people. I want to work together with other people. I want to construct something beautiful together, because we're not supposed to do it all on our own. And even if you were to say, okay, I'm going to shut the world off, I'm just gonna be on my own. Hey, you still depend on the postman, the person who works in the supermarket. We depend on each other. Let's just accept that. It's not a bad thing. It's only when we lose ourselves, people please, enable, then we enter codependency and we just harm ourselves and other people because we're not in our highest expression, our true expression. But if you're in congruence and practice that with other people, together, again, taking the metaphor of the symphony, we play something that is bigger than just the solo flutist. And I'm saying, okay, there's also beautiful solo flutist, a cappella, whatever. But a symphony is a whole different concept. And all of the tunes coming together is something marvelous. So that's me endorsing conscious communities. Again, use your own discernment. Use your own discernment, but don't be afraid to try out things. Find the people you resonate with. Find those who you can trust. And trust is something you need to build also. Trust and loyalty are two fundamental things that I feel are, in this day and age, very important to build human relationships again. Long-lasting, sustainable human relationships that don't just seek out profit at the expense of someone else, playing a zero-sum game. No. There's a different way of doing things where I win, you win, and the universe wins. I'm all about that. Win, win, win. I had a bit of a blank moment now. But yeah, it doesn't have to be like competition, lack, there's not enough for everyone. No, that is the old paradigm. The new paradigm is life is abundant. The world is abundant. You are abundant. You have so many resources. Other people can be resources also. You know, I don't shy away from asking for help. For example, with the garden stuff, I used to like pretend I could do everything on my own. I do it when I have the energy, but if not, then I ask people to help me. Or just technical stuff. I'm not going to pretend that I can, because my strength lies elsewhere. And I'd rather use my energy, my time for what I'm good at. And ask someone else in their field of expertise to help me, from what they're good at. It makes sense. Why complicate things? Ma? So there's that. Let's declutter. Constantly declutter. Let's be conscious and intentional about what we let into our space in the biggest sense, our physical, energetic space. You don't need to engage with everyone either. I'm much more cutting nowadays. Ruthless? Well, it is what it is. If like the energy I engage with does not, it's not serve me, but it's more like if there's not an upward cycle of giving and receiving, why would I drain myself? I used to have this notion where like, I have to save or I have to, no, that's ego also. I'm not here to save anyone. I'm here to save myself. And by doing so, I might inspire other people. But I'm responsible for myself first and foremost. And that's enough. Because when I'm in my joyous, abundant energy, I have more to share. If I'm in my contracted fear, shame, guilt, lower vibrations, there's not so much I can give. That's why I also make sure that I'm joyful because, I don't really record these videos when I don't feel it. Because I want to give you my best. I want it to come from an authentic place of like wanting to share, not out of obligation or like, okay, I have to record another video now because it's this and this date. No, I share it. Okay, nowadays it's a bit more often, but the energy is there and the inspiration is there. I'm flowing, no? But when you really want to share, there's no sense of loss or there's no resentment also. Because when we overgive and overshare, we secretly like resent the other person and then think, okay, they owe me now. No, I give voluntarily, generously, but I make sure that my own cup is full first. That's my responsibility. If we would all do that, that would be a harmonious symphony. So fill your own cup. Should we do a little short story? Because I want to keep it short. The last one was like super long video. I don't want to traumatize you with like overload of magic mail. But I also trust that, hey, if you're on my channel, then I guess you resonate with what I'm sharing because I'm not imposing this on you. You're here out of free will, no? Okay, ¿qué hacemos? Should we do little light seer deck story? Yeah, quick one? Okay, wait. Or move. Don't sit too much. You have a few seconds to shake. Shaking is also good. Shaking. Oh, I'm going to sing you a song too. Yay! Vale, hacemos esto. Let's do quick. How many minutes is this? Okay. Oh my god, it's already 30 minutes. Damn. All right, vamos. Let's make 3 cards. How about that? Super mega quick story. Dear angels, spirit guides, dear ancestors, connecting with higher self of you watching also. What is a little short story that needs to be told in this very moment? Right here, right now. Thank you so much. Oh, this is going to be epic long again, guys. I can never manage to keep it below 30 minutes because I have so much to share. Vale. First card, please. How does our story start? Oh, we have 2 cards. Let's go. Vale. Okay, I'm gonna take. Vale. First one is 8 of Wands. 8 of Wands is all about talking about energy. Look at the card. What kind of vibe do you get off this card? I'm gonna elicit some responses from you. Tell me in the comments box. You're gonna watch the video anyways, and you're gonna hear what I'm saying. But look at this, super vibrating, like the wands coming together, almost like high-fiving each other, igniting. It's a forward-moving energy. That's the energy I actually feel like I'm in. I'm like, boom, at the moment. So maybe after a period of introspection, you're ready to go again. The energy is moving from yin out to yang again. And that's when it's actually sustainable. When we're too much in our yang, we exhaust ourselves. Not just ourselves, the planet. Because we're always outsourcing and producing, and it's not, there's seasons, there are rhythms to our lives, internally and larger cosmos. Just watch what's going on in nature. So anyway, from yin going out to yang. We are ready with the 6 of Pentacles to give and receive again. Didn't I just talk about that? Giving and receiving. Being okay to share from your full cup and also feeling worthy enough to receive. It's beautiful. That's how the flow of energy flows. Give and receive. Yeah? Okay. And last card. Last card, please. Thank you so much. I'm trying to speed this up. Last card. Yay! I couldn't make this stuff up. And what's coming is the 10 of Pentacles, which is, we have the Tree of Life here in the Kabbalah. I need to still study that. There's so much to learn. But it's basically, look at that. Fiesta. It feels a bit like the vibe I got when I went into my little town this morning and with the mercadillo, with families, kids, dogs, everyone being happy, sharing, being curious, celebrating, togetherness. See, that's what we talked about also. Community, togetherness. Family, soul tribe, supporting each other, holding each other, celebrating each other. Hey, isn't that beautiful? So, it's looking good, guys. It's looking good. Oh, I'm going to mess this up again with this mirror reversed. Mirror reversed. No, I see. Oh, well. Déjame ver cómo es esto. 1, 2, 3. You know, I count in German for some reason. I can't count in another language. So we have 8 of Wands, young energy, sustainable, steady young energy, to give and receive again, and to celebrate our community and our togetherness, our humanity, working together, collaborating, appreciating each other's gifts, supporting each other, uplifting each other. That's what the new paradigm is about also. Yeah? Muy bien, me encanta. And what was the song I was going to sing? It's going to be super long again. I had to close my Google because my computer crashed earlier. And then I have all these technical glitches and I had to paste stuff together. But ready? Is this still recording? Are we still good? Yeah, okay. I haven't warmed, but I'm going to get a proper mic. This is my little, what do you call it? Singing bowl device, but whatever. We're slowly upgrading, guys. Slowly. Steady evolution, steady growth, sustainability. Enjoying the process in the meantime. Listen as your day unfolds. Challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your fears. Stand up and be counted. Don't be ashamed to cry. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. And all I know, and I know, love will save the day. And herald what your mother said. Read the books your father read. Try to solve the puzzles in your own sweet time. Some may have more cash than you. Others take a different view. My, oh, my, eh. You gotta be bad, you gotta be bold, you gotta be wiser. You gotta be hard, you gotta be tough, you gotta be stronger. You gotta be cool, you gotta be calm, you gotta stay together. And all I know, and I know, love will save the day. And time asks no questions, it goes on without you, leaving you behind. You can't stand the pace. The world keeps on spinning, can't stop it if you try to. The best part is in danger, staring you in the face. Oh, oh. Remember, listen as your day unfolds and challenge what the future holds. Try and keep your head up to the sky. Lovers, they may cause you tears. Go ahead, release your fears. My, oh, my, eh. Bueno, lo dejamos hasta aquí. I need to get better with my timing, no? I need to be in timing. But you know what? You know that it scares the shit out of me to be doing this, to actually sing in front of you. Scares me shitless. You wouldn't believe it. But I had a talk with my fear, and I told my fear was like, you know, I told you that I always invite all of my voices into my consciousness. I pass the mic, okay, see what have you got to say. And my fear was like, you're gonna make a fool out of yourself. You can't really sing. You can't hit the notes. And I was like, maybe. But you know what, fear? I'm not gonna let that stop me. I enjoy singing, I want to get better at it, and it's okay to mess up, and I want to share my voice, and I want to have fun. So, fear, here's a biscuit, cup of tea, fasten your seatbelt in the backseat, because soul wants to sing. That's how I deal with my fears. Take a look at your fears. What have they got to say? Are they valid, or do they just want to protect you from something maybe that's not even going to happen? It's just a projection of the fear. And I want to grow. I want to liberate myself. I want to feel free. I want to share my voice. So you guys got to put up with my singing. Vale, lo dejamos aquí, ¿vale? Short and sweet, 50 minutes. Magic Mel and Owl has your back as usual, always. And I'm happy to have had you here. Comment, please. Share, subscribe, like, donate if you feel inclined to give and receive. And you know my email for Mel's Magic Coaching, c'est moi. Energy readings, tarot, you know, I've got lots of tricks out in my hat, down my sleeve, whatever you call it. Yeah, comment. I'm happy you're here. Stay tuned for the next episode for Mel's Magic Official. Ciao.